What's up, everyone? Aquí el Gallito de la Sierra, aka Crypto Keeper. I do the research that you don't have to. On the topic of research, I've been, over the course of 1 year, looking into NFTs, trying to partner with some great people to develop NFTs for me on some really bright ideas that I think would bring some really cool NFTs to the marketplace. But earlier today, I had a really great conversation with a few folks, and I talked a little bit about where I was at, meeting with some folks. And that meeting is done. I haven't made a decision yet, but it's coming. And when I have it, you'll be the first to know. Want to talk a little bit about AMP token. AMP token continues to be one of those tokens that not a whole lot of people are bringing information to others, just because the price is at a point where maybe a whole lot of people weren't expecting it. I realize that a lot of people have invested in AMP token over the course of the last couple of years. Speculative token, that's for sure. Even though AMP token has done an enormous amount of development for being one of the tokens used to collateralize payments for goods and services. It's one of those tokens I strongly feel that if you just continue to research and follow, is going to be probably a token that may survive this winter storm. You know, a lot of crypto is pegged to Bitcoin, and the problem with that is that every time Bitcoin has a correction to the downside or to the upside, many other cryptos follow, and that you could say could be that many are pegged to Bitcoin in that way, where if Bitcoin's doing bad, the rest of the market's bleeding, and that tends to be true. But what I think is hurting AMP token the most is that there are a lot of reasons why AMP token may be in the situation that it's in right now. Who knows about these legal battles, whether these legal battles are legit or not. There's so much information out there. It's difficult to know what's credible, what's not. I mean, I tend to rely on the information that's coming out of AMP specifically, but it's difficult to know exactly what kinds of troubles AMP token might be facing, because at the end of the day, you're not going to get 100% of the accurate information. Neither am I, and no one's going to really know 100% certainty that this is what's happening with AMP token, or this is what's not happening with AMP token, and that's why it's affecting the price. The price is the price, regardless of the reasons. Maybe the closest in relation to AMP token could be something like XRP. XRP token is being sued. There's no question about that. And it's had a little bit of a price movement, but XRP, many predict that if it was out of the lawsuit and it would win the lawsuit, that they're speculating the price would just go off the charts. And who knows? I'm not invested in XRP, and I'm not saying anything against XRP, but I am invested in AMP token, and I have probably no desire to invest in XRP. I think XRP aims to do something much different than AMP token, and I think all of these tokens have a place in crypto, that depending on what you're into and what your reasons are for investing in certain cryptos, well, those are all for you to determine and decide, not for me to tell you where you should be or where you should be paying attention. But we have a significant community in AMP token, and only very few people are talking about it. I mean, there's this guy, a couple of guys that are, if you type in AMP token, they pop up as sort of kind of folks that talk about AMP token on a daily basis. Maybe I'm trying to be one like them, because I always title all my YouTube videos with AMP token, and sometimes I don't really talk about AMP token. I talk about a bunch of other stuff, and I failed to maybe mention AMP token, but everything that I say is related to cryptocurrencies in general, including AMP token. And that's why I do some of these videos in the fashion that I do, because it's important for you to understand where I'm coming from, so that if you are part of the AMP token community, well, then I understand how much more important these videos are for you. But if you're not, and you're part of the just sort of general audience who is in crypto or thinking about crypto, and some of these messages are important for you to listen to because maybe they offer a different perspective or a different point of view, and that's why I do them the way I do them. Now, let's get something very clear. I am never going to leave AMP token. I said that a couple of maybe videos ago. I mentioned that if the ship sinks, and I'm on it because I'm invested in AMP token, if the ship sinks for AMP and AMP goes into the abyss, well, I'm going down with it. Now, what I've done to protect myself, excuse me, is I've diversified my crypto portfolio in a way that I think hopefully will protect me against major losses. And that's just the way I'm doing it. That is what works for me. And so I'm not all invested in AMP token, which makes it difficult in times like this to really decide how much more I invest in any particular token. So I am probably in the future, not anytime soon, because most of my videos are done while I'm driving, as you can see. That's a common theme in my videos. I don't have technical charts to show you. If I was to pull up a pie chart and show you the diversification of my crypto portfolio, it would show, you know, how much I'm invested in AMP token versus some of my other crypto holdings. And I don't have that to show you. You just got to take my word for it. But I'm not also here to talk bad about any other cryptocurrencies that I'm not in or invested in. I'm really more here about highlighting the cryptocurrencies that I understand a little better than I do on the cryptocurrencies that I understand better, more so than others that I'm not invested in. So earlier I was, just sort of kind of following the current latest news of AMP token. Yeah, the price is down. I've said it before and before that mostly because everything's pegged to Bitcoin, I really only tune in to technical analysis on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's kind of the I guess you could say the NASDAQ of all of the cryptocurrencies, because like in the stock market, many people look at NASDAQ as sort of the overall price analytics for future predictions on where the prices are going to be on any given stock. Now, of course, there's anomalies and there's other types of things that impact certain stocks individually, but overall, when the NASDAQ is hit by 5, 10, 15% correction, all the other, the S&P 500 and some of these other stocks react to the big kahuna, which is the NASDAQ. So in the same way, you could see always with Bitcoin, when Bitcoin has a rip to the upside, when Bitcoin was 55, 60,000, look at what Polygon, Matic, Cardano, and many of these other, we saw AMP token even climb all the way up to 12 cents and hang there for a little while. And you got to be careful about these kinds of moves, because we've said it. There's a lot of us in the community of cryptocurrencies that talk about the volatility of crypto. And this is a perfect example of volatile markets pegged, well, I shouldn't say it that way. This is a perfect example of the volatility that exists in crypto, because if you go a year and like 3 months from today's date back, you could see what I'm talking about. It's just everything is bleeding, everything is hemorrhaged. Bitcoin is to bleed probably even a little more, and if it does, I think Bitcoin's going to have a major influence on not only AMP but many other cryptocurrencies. So that is kind of why I've been, over the course of the last few months, saying over and over and over that AMP is to see lower lows, lows that we haven't seen in a long time. If, just imagine if Bitcoin, look at AMP token, it's been hovering. I'm going to talk about this very briefly, but I want to give you sort of the rationale behind of why my gut feeling just tells me AMP is going to go much lower than where it's at right now. And here's the reason why. I took 90 days of charts, and when Bitcoin's been hovering between 17,000 and 25,000. That's been sort of the last 90-day price action for Bitcoin. Within that amount of time, AMP token has really not responded positively to the price of Bitcoin at the highs of 25,000. So when Bitcoin begins to drop in price, so it goes to 25, AMP will be about 0.00, say 80 of a cent at 25,000. But when Bitcoin goes back down, it seems like AMP token is losing more steam. In other words, it's not correcting positively in terms of price when Bitcoin rips up to a $25,000 mark. So when Bitcoin goes up, other tokens go up, but I haven't seen that with AMP. And so the increase is very insignificant, meaning when Bitcoin's at 25 and then it experiences what it just did a couple days ago, it fell to 20,000 and 21,000. AMP now is sitting at 0.007, and yesterday it was sitting at 0.0068, which it's still at 7. It hasn't even gone back up to 0.008%. And if you look at the charts, and I don't spend a whole lot of time looking at individual charts for AMP and Polygon-matic and Litecoin and Cardano, I don't necessarily spend too much time there. I spend a lot more time listening to technical analysis on Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the big kahuna. Whatever Bitcoin does, for some reason, it affects all the others in a negative or positive way. The only other one that seems to be doing its own thing is Ethereum. And generally, Ethereum is about the only other cryptocurrency that maybe the charts are important for Ethereum respectively. But all the other altcoins and meme coins and all this other stuff, very few, even though they have utility. Look how much utility Polygon-matic has. And with that utility, because Polygon-matic does have a lot of utility, a lot of use case, it's going to have its own move. But AMP token doesn't have that right now. And that's the part that I think, as a researcher, you become a little more wise about specific tokens that don't have a whole lot of utility. They're very speculative. And when they're very speculative, the market moves for those coins are going to be affected in that way. So you would have to see Bitcoin rip to like 40, 50, 60K in order for us to probably even maybe, and this is a huge maybe, see AMP token go from like 0.007 where it's at to like maybe a couple cents. And that is going to be based on just the fact that Bitcoin ripped that much more. If it doubled in price, AMP token might feel a bit of a push to the upside in terms of market cap, and that's going to influence that token to increase in price. But until utility comes, you're not going to see major price movements unless there's a huge inflow of investors picking up AMP token. I tend to think that the price also, and I haven't looked at the charts, but it's been a while. I used to pay attention to how much of the percentage difference between how many people are buying AMP token and how many people are selling their AMP token. And I think the last time that I checked was maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and it was like, I don't know, 30%, 70% selling AMP token and about 30% buying AMP token respectively. And that means that that's not good news for us AMP holders. If a lot of people are selling their AMP token, including maybe even Flexa, in other words, if AMP is selling their own tokens to generate more fiat to sustain the major pitfalls and downfalls of AMP token, that could affect the price. So again, we have all of these different situations playing out in cryptocurrency, specifically with AMP token. But I'm still gonna hang in there. I'm still gonna stay. I'm still gonna invest in AMP token, very little at a time, knowing that I may lose all of my investment in AMP token. That's why I remember, I think his last name is Ramos. And he showed, I think even when he purchased AMP, it was down at like 4 cents, and he bought, I don't know, a couple million, not $1 million, a couple of million of AMP tokens, which would have equated to like, a couple grand, like maybe $5,000 at that time, something like that. Well, look, who would have thought that AMP token would have been at the price that it's at right now? I was careful. I wasn't doing that. I wasn't buying a whole bunch of AMP token or any other type of token 3 months ago, because I've been saying over and over that I'm going to do it in phases. And now that I'm seeing a lot more issues in the cryptocurrency and the global economy, and all these different types of issues that I think are to come, I'm a little more hesitant. I'm kind of saving my part that I would have invested right now for a later time. Now, if I miss out, I miss out. Again, this isn't financial advice. I'm not telling anybody do it my way. I'm just saying what I'm doing with my own money and how I'm doing it and why I'm doing it this way, because I truly feel there is major more bad news, unfortunately, for crypto. And when AMP token is dealing with the bad news it's dealing right now, and the headlines are sort of out there, like they are with Cardano, it does affect the price. It affects the price big time. That's why Charles Hoskinson is coming out and really trying to put an end to the fake news that's out there about Cardano, because if the media goes out and starts just sort of putting out headlines and fake news and all of this stuff about the test net and how the nodes are affected and Cardano is a scam, when big players in the media start to catch on it, and they all have agendas. Remember, not every crypto that's out there is liked. Not every crypto that's out there is going to be supported by the government. I mean, the government has came out over and over again talking about how Bitcoin's not a security. Well, that should indicate to you where the government's probably going to go in the next 2 to 5 years. Bitcoin is going to have a major play in government, but it's just not there yet. But with the very simple fact that you have leaders in government saying that Bitcoin is not a security and that technically everything else is, that's an issue. That's an issue for all of us. And, that's why I'm putting in my money in Bitcoin too, because you got to play it safe. I mean, there's already a lot of huge money and huge investors in Bitcoin. And so they're not going to let that one go very easy. So who knows what the future holds for us, AMP token community. Hang in there, be smart, do what you got to do to survive. Don't do it my way and don't do it someone else's way. I mean, Mr. Ramos, he might be one of those people that, he made his investment just because he felt it was a great time to dollar cost average in at that time. Well, good for him. And And if he feels he's a long-term holder, because he said that over and over before, he's still a big AMP token investor, then, you know, let's weigh it out. 2, 3, 4, 5 years. It won't matter if you bought in at 2 cents and it's back up to like 20 cents. You know, can AMP token reach 25 cents? Well, who knows? I'm not going to tell you that it can, but I'm not going to tell you that it can't. I'm just going to tell you that I think crypto overall, for all of those cryptos that survive this next major crisis, they're going to be cryptos that you're not going to be able to purchase at the price that I think most folks can get in right now. That's all I can say. I feel confident, and, you know, I stand to be corrected 3 or 4 years from now, but I tend to look at the charts from the past and look at the prices. There's no way that you can get the prices people were getting 6 years ago in crypto. If you go 6 years back and you look at Ethereum, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Cardano, and including many other types of cryptocurrencies, 6 years ago, there's no way you can get the prices people got them for 6 years ago. So again, you know, could it be that short, 2 to 3 years? Who knows? It could be, but, you know, regardless, if I'm willing to stay for 10 years or 15 years in crypto, I can probably feel very confident that if whatever holdings I have now, and whatever investments I make now, 10 years from now, maybe I won't see these prices. Maybe some of these won't be around. Maybe they will, and if they are, I can guarantee myself, at least that's the way I feel based on looking at charts, historical charts in crypto, that we probably won't find the prices we're finding right now. So again, none of us can say 100% this is what crypto is going to be at 5 years from now. But what we can say is, based on historical charts and historical prices, even with the stock market and using stocks as a model, if you will, of prices every 10 years, you're just not going to find the same prices you see right now in crypto, overall in crypto in the next 10 years. You're just not going to find them. So that's why I think if you're in it for the long, like if you're a hodler like me and you're in it for the long term, I think AMP, if it survives and it goes through whatever storms it's going through, and it gets adopted, it gets utility, it does what it's supposed to do, it's on some type of really fast lightning network, and it's adopted and used and is problem free in every way, I think AMP token is going to be a great token to be part of, and that's why I'm in it. I'm in it for the long run. I'm in it because I believe in the project, and that's just me personally. So that's it. I hope this video was helpful, and till the next, I'll be talking about my meeting, my NFT projects, and just sort of bringing that to the forefront as well. Take care. Kill Kikiri Keeks checking out. Peace.